Hello everyone, hope everyone's having a great day. It's Jay, and today we're back with our second standings predictions video. This one's the Central Division, finishing off the Western Conference. If you haven't checked out my Pacific Division rankings, make sure you check that one out. That was the first one I did. Today we're moving on to the Central, and just like I did with the Pacific, just a heads up, I'm recording this video Friday morning, so the regular season has started. They've had 3 nights of games. I thought about doing this late, and instead of not doing it, I decided, you know what, I don't think my rankings are going to change that much, if at all, from the first few days of games. So we're just going into it. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my rankings or not. We're going to jump into it. We're going to go from 8th place up to 1st, and I'll give you a little bit of the reasoning behind why I put each team there. So starting off, 8th place, I don't think this is a shock to anyone. I got the Chicago Blackhawks. What does this say about Chicago? Bedard. That's about it. I've loved watching him in the first few nights. You know, he played Tuesday, Wednesday of this week as of the recording, of course, and he got an assist in the first game, a goal in the second game. He's the best player in Chicago. He's living up to the hype so far. It's so much fun to watch him. But they're going to be last. Mrazek stood in his head while also being bad in that game. Way out of position. The man does not know where his net is. But he played well. But he's not going to keep that up. They don't have a goalie in net, really. Maybe, is it Soderstrom? Arvid Soderstrom? They have backing him up. He might not be bad. I know he's young. But, you know, they're not good right now. They have overpaying on Corey Perry and Taylor Hall, which is fine. I think that's exactly what you need to do for Chicago to get some veteran guys around Bedard. I have no problem with it. I actually think it's a great strategy by them. It just shows you where they're at. They have some great young guys, though, outside of Bedard, like, you know, Lucas Reichel, Kevin Korchinski's been playing. He's looked really good. I know there's some other guys who I know I'm missing. You know, I think they're going to be fun to watch. More fun to watch, at least, especially with Bedard. You're always going to want to tune in to see him. I'm so excited to watch them grow as a team, and Bedard mainly. Like, you just can't. I know I've said Bedard like 100 times already this video. He's all there is to talk about Chicago, but he is a bright light for them, the brightest light you can have, a lighthouse in your face. But you know, it's exciting for them, I think, but they're going to be last, and that's not going to change this season. But with Bedard, rebuild speed up tenfold, so we'll see what they look like next year. This year I have them in 8th. I think that's pretty standard. They did make Pittsburgh look pretty bad on Tuesday, but you know, they're not going to do that every night. That's fine. Chicago in 8th. In 7th, I have the Arizona Coyotes. Now, I think they've actually improved a lot. They've always been at the bottom of the standings, and I think they're going to be better this year. I think it's possible they're fighting for a playoff spot in the next couple of years. I've liked what they've been doing, honestly. They need to get a building. That's first and foremost. You need a building before you can worry about even winning, to be honest. Where you're playing is embarrassing, honestly. You can try and play it off as a novelty, and that works for a game, not as your team's home, though. So they need to get that figured out, but I think they have some pieces there. Logan Cooley's looked fantastic, of course. You know, goal of the season in the preseason, quite possibly. He's going to be great for them. Dylan Guenther, I'm really high on. I think he's going to be great for them. I like the addition of Sean Durzi in the back end. You know, they have pieces that, you know, I know I'm missing a lot of guys there too. You know, Jake McBain, I think he's going to be decent. They added some veteran guys, you know, in Kerfoot, Matt Dumba on the back end. So I don't hate what they're doing there, quite honestly. I like what they got going. They need some years. I haven't even said Clayton Keller, of course. Clayton Keller's there. You know, probably the best player on that team. I think he's an underrated player in the league just due to where he plays. But, you know, they will take a big step, I think. Maybe not a big step. They will take a step forward this year, and I think they will continue. Management, ownership needs to get the arena sorted out so these guys can play in front of a crowd. And I hope they stay in Arizona, to be quite honest with you. I think Arizona is a market that works, you know, here where I am in Ontario anyways. You look at the Toronto Maple Leafs with Austin Matthews and now coming up Matthew Nyes, 2 guys from Arizona. You know, you need more players from that area coming in. I think Arizona can work as a market. I want them to stay there. But you got to get it figured out. But this is about the team, about the ranking. I have them 7th, which, you know, they could move up to maybe 6th. I don't see the teams I have above them falling below Arizona yet. But I do think there's a bright future for Arizona. 6th place in the division, I have the Nashville Predators. This one was kind of tougher one. They're a team that's just full of people. They're full of players, of course, like everyone is. But there's nothing really going on. They added Ryan O'Reilly, he's a good player. Not a superstar. I don't know all of what they have. They have some good young players. I know they do. Juuso Parssinen really came out. Tommy Novak. He's going to be good. Roman Jossi's one of the best defensemen in the league, but they just don't have much around that, in my opinion. What they do have is Juuse Saros, who is top 3 goalie in the league, in my opinion. Top 5 for sure, full stop. He's a great goalie. He will steal you some games. So that's why I have them 6th, but I just don't think they have a ton around it. I don't really know what they are right now. I think Andrew Burnett's a really good coach. I really think he's going to be a good coach in this league for a while, but I don't think... I know Barry Trotz is the GM now, not coaching, obviously, but I don't think Barry Trotz's hockey and Andrew Burnett's hockey really mix, so I'm interested to see how that dynamic goes. Maybe that's for the best, though. Maybe, you can just let Barry Trotz manage the team, the players, and as long as Andrew Burnett can focus on the team, maybe they don't conflict. Trotz obviously hired him for a reason. I do think Burnett's a really good coach. I don't think there's much there to be coaching right now. There's no one, they have a lot of decent players, but that's kind of it. That's kind of how I feel about them. Some superstars, one in defense with Roman Josi, and then, Tyson Barrie's a good power play guy, but, not much there otherwise. And then you have, like I said, Juuse Saros, who's a fantastic goalie, but, not much past that in my opinion. So that's why I have them 6th. In 5th, I have the St. Louis Blues. So, same kind of thing. I don't really know where they're at. They are better. They have some top-end talent. Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, Braden Shen, who's just named captain, is still a decent player for sure. They have Jordan Binnington, who showed he can be a decent goalie. He really hasn't been too great since his playoff run. He's still good, though. He's still good. I think if he can keep his anger, attitude, his shenanigans in check, then he'll be better, and I think I read a comment the other day that he's going to work on that. So that's good. He should. Even though it is entertaining to watch, it's still a joke, though. You can't be doing that type of stuff. But, they have pieces. Torrey Krug is a decent defenseman they have, although they were trying to trade him. They had a trade in place with Philadelphia in the offseason, but Torrey Krug actually nixed that trade due to his trade protection, which is his right, so that's fine, but it must feel weird for him to be on a team that doesn't really want you, right? Or at least was willing to get rid of you. So I'm interested to see what the dynamic will be like. They lost Ryan O'Reilly, Noel Acciari, who is a really underrated depth piece. They lost guys like that. Again, I'm always going to be missing guys. Jake Neighbors actually is a player I'm really high on. I think he'll be good for them. But is he enough right now? With Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas. The D is they have a really old D core. A lot of guys above 30 who are still locked up for a while. So I don't know if there's enough flexibility there. So yeah, I have them in 5th. I think they have some good individual pieces, but I don't think it's going to be enough at all to put it together to get a playoff run or anything going here this season. So I have them in 5th in the Central. 4th place in the Central, I have the Winnipeg Jets. So, as I said, I'm recording this a little bit later. The season has started. We do know that both Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck got 8-year extensions at $8.5 million a year. I think for Hellebuyck, I think they're decent contracts. I think free agency, Hellebuyck would have got a lot more. Hellebuyck's one of the best goalies in the league as well. I was talking with Saros. Hellebuyck is right up there as well. So I think he would have got more, but 8 years is a lot. We'll talk about both of them. 8 years is a lot for both guys who are north of 30. That term is scary, but Winnipeg has a very hard time enticing free agents to come to Winnipeg just due to the location mainly, not necessarily skill, just location. So when you have two guys that are willing to stay and sign long term, I think you gotta lock them up. If they're not willing to sign 4 or 5 year deals, it's either walk or take 8. You gotta give it to them. You gotta keep the stars there when they're there, especially when they've been drafted and brought up by that organization. So I don't hate it. It's a little scary. It's definitely something to be cautious about, but I don't fault the organization for doing it, especially when there were talks that both these guys would be gone by the end of the season. I think if you have the opportunity to keep them, you keep them. They also have other good players around. Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers. I think if he can stay healthy, I think he's still got more to give. But he's still a good player, Kyle Connor, like I said. And I'm also a big fan of the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. I think Winnipeg did very well. Pierre-Luc Dubois didn't want to be there, so you bring in Gabe Vilardi, Rasmus Kupari, and Alex Iafallo. Most of the guys have term. I know that Alex Iafallo does. Pretty sure Gabe Vilardi does as well. I think he signed an extension. I'm unsure about Rasmus Kupari. But those are three guys, especially Vilardi and Kupari, have a lot. They're young. They have a lot of potential. Specifically Vilardi on that. He's shown he can really be a great NHLer. I think Kupari can be a great middle six guy. And Alex Iafallo, he's a great player too. I think those are three guys you can kind of work in the lineup and put in different positions in the power play, penalty kill, up and down the lineup. And you got some great assets back for Pierre-Luc Dubois, who didn't want to be there anymore, who wasn't going to stay. So these are guys who can hopefully stay with the organization for a bit. And I think they're great pieces. I think Winnipeg did very well on that trade. You have Josh Morrissey, who had a career year last year. I think he'll keep that up. And again, you have Connor Hellebuck in net. I think they're very good. Cole Perfetti is another good young player who I think can really impact this team in a very positive way. They definitely had some locker room problems last year. There was definitely, not good chemistry going on and it's kind of toxic vibes, it sounded like. But you got Blake Wheeler out of there, who did seem to be a big problem in that. I assumed Scheifele was as well, just from all the reports, but they're keeping him. Maybe everything around it can kind of just straighten it up. I know the relationship with the coach has been strained at times. I've heard that this year that's been better so far. So, that's good news. I think they can be a really good team. This Winnipeg is tough because I think I think they have the talent to be, even higher than fourth in the division. But I think they also have the potential to be lower in the division, just due to everything that we know that's gone on in the past. I believe they have sorted out this year. We'll see how it goes. I think Winnipeg at 4 is a safe bet. I know I'm taking the safe bet there, but it makes sense to me. Third place in the Central, I have the Minnesota Wild. This is another solid team. They have Kirill Kaprizov. Can't count against Kirill Kaprizov, but if he gets hurt, then their season's done. They are much lower in this division, in my opinion, I think. I think they drop a few spots without Kaprizov. They signed an extension for Zuccarello at a lower number, gave us an extension to Foligno at a raise. I'm okay with that. They're two guys who I know are loved by the team. Not the worst cap hits in the world. They kind of even each other out. And those don't start till next year anyways. I think it's just good that those are locked up because they're kind of veterans on that team. They have two good goalies, Marc-Andre Fleury, who, at some point he's going to retire, but he hasn't shown that he's slowing down at all. And Philip Gustafsson, who had a really good year last year. So I think they got two decent goalies. They have, Jordan Greenway as their captain. He's a steady defenseman. And then, anytime you have Kaprizov, one of the best players in the league, you're going for it. And I think they have a fine team around him. I think they're going to finish in third. And the special, I don't think they're going to go too far yet. I think it's possible that Winnipeg, could bump them up if they have a really good season. I like Winnipeg's potential. I'm just nervous with all of the stuff that's gone on in the past. So I have Minnesota in third. Not too much more to say on that. I know I'm probably missing stuff. Matt Boldy, Marco Rossi looked pretty good last year. I think they'll take another step this year, and that'll be big for them. Ryan Hartman also got an extension, and if he can get back to that 30-goal scorer that he was 2 years ago, then that'll really help them. I think there are pieces there, and I think it can work. We'll just have to wait and see if it does. I think third is a reasonable bet for them. I think they'll make the playoffs, maybe third, maybe a wild card spot. But I have them in third and Central for my predictions video. Second place, I have the Colorado Avalanche. So, Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, some of the best talent in the league, all locked up in this team. Gabriel Landeskog is hurt for the season, but they know that going into it, so they can work around that. I think they had time to adjust, knowing that this year instead of last year when it was a bit more of a surprise. They brought in Jonathan Drouin, so as a Montreal Canadiens fan, he never quite worked in Montreal. I think him on the wing of Nathan MacKinnon is going to work really well. I'm counting 60, 70 points, probably 50, 60 of them in assists for Drouin, but that's just fine. think he's going to be feeding McKinnon, and I think that's going to work very well for them. Like I said, you got Cale Makar on defense, you got Devin Taves back there, Samuel Girard, Bowen Byram. Like, what's not to love about Colorado, except maybe the goaltending, especially with Francouz being hurt to start the season. That's rough, but I think you got so much talent in front of them that it'll be okay. You are going to score goals. Colorado in second. I have them in second just because, I don't know, just because the goaltending scares me a little bit, but it's not really going to matter too much for them this season. They're going to finish second comfortably. They'll tear it up as always. They're going to score a million goals, and it's going to be fantastic to watch. First place, I have the Dallas Stars. So I have Dallas first place in the Central Division. I just think they're a solid team. They play a good system. They play hard, but they play smart. And you're no longer relying on the big guys that used to be there anyways, or are still there, but used to be relying on Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin to do everything, and they just couldn't. Now they can play, honestly, middle six, second line. I don't know how their line structure is totally going to fill out. Middle six is probably a bit harsh for them. They'll be up there, but they're not the main guys anymore. You have guys like Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnson. These guys are going to come in. Rupe Hintz, not going to come in. They have come in, and they've been able to take over a little bit, or at least surround these guys with a lot more talent, that the pressure's not all on them. And I think it's just going to, it's going to do wonders. It has done wonders in years in like last year, and I think it's going to continue to be really beneficial for that team as a whole. You have Miro Heiskanen, one of the best defensemen in the league, on the back end there. And one of the best goalies in the league, Jake Ottinger. I'm not quite as high on him as I am Connor Hellebuyck and UC Saros, but he's a great goaltender, no questions. So they have solid players in solid positions all over the ice, and they have players now to surround everyone else. And I just think with the system they play, the guys they have, Joe Pavelski, who doesn't age somehow, I just think they're going to be a very tough team to play against. And they might not have as much top-end talent as Colorado. I just think top to bottom, they just play such a hard system that it's just going to suffocate teams. It's going to be hard to do anything. You get past the great forwards, now you got great defensemen, and then a great goalie. They're one of the cup favorites in my opinion. I don't know if I have them winning it per se, but I think anyone who picks them is not off base at all. There are my Central Division rankings for the 23-24 NHL season. That finishes off the Western Conference. I will see you guys soon with the Eastern Conference. I'll do the Metropolitan, and I'll finish off with the Atlantic, as that's the one I'm the most familiar with. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/JayShooe. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these rankings. If you think I'm totally off base, or if I didn't pick your favorite team to win, let me know why. Let me know why you think they'll do well. But until then, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.